Welcome to Spotlight in Business. I'm Tammy Defoe, president and founder of GTApreneurs, and I'm happy to have with me our May 30th guest speaker for our in-person networking event, Liam.Card. He is the senior vice president and portfolio manager for Lorne Steinberg Wealth Management, and he's going to be giving us lots of great tips on May 30th. So make sure you register for this event. You don't want to miss it. But before then, let's learn more about Liam. And welcome to the show, Liam. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Tammy. Thank you so much for inviting me to chat with you before and at the event. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. And I look forward to meeting you in person, right? We've met over Zoom before, but you know what? It's nothing like the real thing. But let's give people a little bit of taste of what they're going to see. So tell us more about yourself.
Sure. I think there's three key things that people should know about me. The first is that once upon a time, many years ago, I represented Canada in the sport of track and field. I traveled with the national team. I won medals for Canada, which led me to a full scholarship at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill.
Wow.
Where I graduated. And I think that at a young age, that experience provided me with a lot of discipline, which in this business that I'm in is critical. And also that concept of trusting the process. When you have a quality process in place, I have seen the results of trusting that process over time. And I feel like certainly in the investment business, people can jump around and they can get frustrated, but trusting the process, especially when times are tough, is so critical. And I learned that very early on in sports. So that's one thing. Number two, I'm a very proud husband and father of two girls, age 9 and 12. My weekends, I'm a full-time cheerleader for them, whether it's sports or the arts or dance or musical theater, whatever they're into. It's a pretty exciting age, I have to say, 9 and 12. And lastly, I run our Toronto office here. I live in the beaches. I'm a very avid golfer, a pretty lousy putter, but always working on improvement. So I would say those are three good things to know about me.
Fantastic. And we can't all be good at everything, right? So you know what?
Totally.
Right, exactly. But you bring so much to the table in that, and I'm glad you shared a little bit of personal background with us as well. It's good to know that you are a real person, you have family, right? And you do care about your clients. That's the most important thing.
Totally.
You're right, exactly. And you stand by, for what you believe. You've got evidence, right? That you're following what the advice you give. So, with that said, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Right. Well, I will say this. I never fully intended on being a portfolio manager. I always wanted to be a lawyer, and I've got a few lawyers in the family. And that's originally how I thought I wanted to help people. But my grandfather, who's a World War II vet, wonderful guy and a successful accountant, he got me into investing at a pretty young age and really excited about investing. And we could communicate and connect that way as well. So when I graduated from university and came back to Toronto, I realized that I could still help people, but also in the field of investing that I had a real passion in. And that combination has just been tremendous for me. And what a wonderful career. It's a people business. I get to work with wonderful people, successful people, interesting people doing interesting, fascinating, wonderful things. So I'm often so humbled in this business. And I think being humble is a good thing in investing, A, because we're constantly learning. B, because no scenario is exactly like a previous scenario. So we have to be able to adapt. And at the end of the day, we're working with real people and their life savings. So having that great connection, knowing your client and having that mutual trust and really admiration that I have for these clients, it goes a long way because they're people and I respect and admire them.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, right? But you know what? A lot of people, they don't know what a portfolio manager does. So can you tell us more? Exactly.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So an investment advisor, as most people know, the traditional role of an investment advisor these days, that looks a lot like delegating decision making to other mutual fund managers, or maybe that investment advisor is passively investing their client assets via ETFs. Well, a portfolio manager is a little bit different. We live and die by our own investment selections. We run all of our own strategies here. So instead of outsourcing the decision making to a mutual fund manager, we make all of the decisions in-house. So clients know that when they're working with us, a portfolio manager or a firm like ours, they're 1 degree away from the people making the decisions. They don't have to wonder about what do I own and why do I own it. If they had any question like that, they could come to me directly and I could explain, why did we buy Disney? Why did we buy Diageo? Why did we buy Allstate? Why did we buy or add to CIBC? Why did we buy Pet Value? They're 1 degree away from the people making the decisions with their life savings. And I think clients really like that. I started my career at CIBC Wood Gundy a long time ago in 2004. And, if a mutual fund wasn't working out, you can always get rid of that mutual fund and buy a different one. Well, in this case, that doesn't exist. We live and die by our own results. So that really focuses the mind. I think clients enjoy the fact that they're 1 degree away from the people making the decisions, like I said. And another really unique thing about Steinberg Wealth, and something we're quite proud of, is that there's no outside investing allowed internally. And what I mean by that is all of my colleagues, anybody who wants to work here at Steinberg Wealth, can only invest in the strategies that we offer to clients. So we eat our own cooking, if you will, and our interests are fully aligned. We do as well as the clients do, and the clients do as well as we do. I find the clients really like that as well. I could be on a beach somewhere and a client could bump into me and they could say, Liam, how am I doing? And I could tell them because it's how I'm doing in that strategy or those strategies.
Right.
They could say, hey, Liam, I could bump into them anywhere in the world, Paris. They could say, what do I own? I could tell them because it's exactly what I own. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a real, like I said, clients really like that, because in this industry, so often people feel like they're being sold something. They're being sold a product. Well, here we do as well as you do, and you do as well as we do. So we get a lot of positive feedback on that front.
That's amazing, right? And you were telling me that you have some, you give your clients some good returns. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, right? No one can predict the market, but you know what? It is all about, it's a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill involved in being able to get things the optimal way possible. And I know that, being with a financial advisor is great. I think no matter what, getting a financial advisor is likely better than someone trying to do it on their own, right? But the other advisors, they do rely on, basically investing people's money in these other, mutual funds with the hope that these other mutual fund managers are going to, do the best thing, right? And then they do multiple different, funds to try to make it balance out to the right results the person wants. But for yourself, you guys are actually doing the work. So it's not like where, someone's statement, oh, this mutual fund didn't do really good, here's your report, and you can't really blame the advisor really, because that's not their, they followed their best training to advise what they could advise for. But with you, they're actually getting the people who are doing all the trading and buying and selling of all the different, managing their money. So you said they're that much closer to even really feeling, I think, a little more control of their finances, right, in their future.
Totally, Tammy. I think that a really important word in the industry, at least for us here, is transparency. I can't tell you how many people I bump into that don't know what they own or why they own it. They don't know what they're paying in fees, and they don't know their performance. They couldn't tell you how they've done. Worse, if pressed, they often don't know their asset allocation, which is a reflection of their risk profile. So, a lot of people come to me full of anxiety because they don't know how they're doing. They don't know what they're paying. They don't know what their mix is or what they hold and why they hold it. if you take the time, and this is part of the Know Your Client protocol, these are things that portfolio managers and advisors can really get right, because we have to get right that which we can control. I can't control the markets, I can't control inflation, I can't control central bankers, but I can control client service, communication, educating the client, having strict criteria, rules, and discipline about what we own and why we own it. If you get those things right and communicate that well with the client, you're going to forge a relationship that's going to last decades, because this is a trust business.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, this is a trust business. It's a numbers business, but it really is a trust business at the end of the day. And when people don't know what they own, how they're doing, what they're paying, or what their policy is, that creates a lot of anxiety, and the sleep at night factor goes down, especially when markets are correcting, or there's a global pandemic, or there's a recession, or a bear market. But if clients know what they own and why they own it, if they know how they're doing, if they know what their strategic asset allocation is, if they know what they're paying in fees, and they have great communication with their portfolio manager, the sleep at night factor goes up. These are things we can control, so we better control them and get them right.
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like the education component is really important, right?
It is,
Okay. Yeah, so I mean,
absolutely.
a lot of people, like, I know that when I was young, I first decided to get an RSP. I'm like, you do the little test, the investment questionnaire thing, right? Here you go. I had no idea what I was investing in. I don't have to give you the
Right.
statements and stuff, but I think knowledge is power in any situation, right? And especially when you say we've got these big dips in the market and everyone's, oh my God, right? Or maybe the interest rates are changing all of a sudden, and how that's going to affect me. So I think having someone they can call on that understands all these things, right? That can, give them advice and let them know, what could be happening right in that, and to kind of keep them calm. Because I think a lot of times what happens is that the market crashes. And again, it's everything, every little fund, every little thing is different. So, right. And then people panic, oh my God, I'm going to sell everything. And it's actually the worst thing you can do, is to sell everything, right? So, you know what, you need to talk to, an advisor of some sort. I mean, to the portfolio managers, even say going one step above the regular advisor, to keep that going, right? And it is that trust. So you're kind of walking the talk. You're like, well, this is what I'm invested in, and this is what I do full time. So I'm not going to let myself go down, the tube sort of thing, right? I'm paying it as much attention as possible to this. So then it's going to be, the other people could feel confident that they know they're getting the best as well, because, it's your family savings too, your retirement.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's my portfolio as well, and I want to do perfectly fine, and I want to do well. I will say there's a lot of comfort to be had in quality. There's a lot of comfort to be had in high quality, and over here, I find that, it's a lot easier in this business when you focus on high quality investments. From a sleep at night factor, when clients can recognize those world's best businesses, when they know that they haven't paid too much for them, they're not riding a wave of momentum or the flavor of the day. Again, these are all confidence builders and sleep at night factor builders. But, I would say that typically our clientele are those who are really focused on risk management, capital preservation, investing in a very high quality, I would say, high quality, lower volatility type of strategy. Those are the people who tend to gravitate to us. The individual who's looking to double their money in 12 months, or follow the hottest stock or the latest trends or whatever the wave of momentum is at the time, we're just going to disappoint you. It's not going to work out. We're certainly not for everybody, but we're for a lot of people, especially those who've done particularly well and are looking to sort of grow and protect their wealth sensibly and with thought, and a very intentional focus on, I would say, high quality.
For sure. Yeah. And now, are there any other characteristics you can kind of define of the people that you help, so people can really know that, you're their guy, basically, right? Your company is the one to go to.
Yeah. I would say the following. Again, I would reiterate, someone who's looking for, a higher quality, lower volatility approach to investing, where we're trying to get reasonable returns over time. we tend to be a great fit. For those who are fee conscious, we tend to save clients a meaningful amount in fees. Our fees are well below median in Canada. And often when people come to us, they're surprised at how low our fee is, because we're often able to remove an entire layer of fees from someone's investing life. By that, I mean, you're often paying your investment advisor 1%, and you're also paying the mutual fund companies 1 to 1.5%. And 1 plus 1 still equals 2. 1 plus 1.5 still equals 2.5. So when we remove that second layer of fees, because no longer is that person being outsourced to third parties, we can remove an entire layer of fees. So for someone who's fee conscious, wants a high quality approach, we tend to be a very good fit. I also think, for clients who want an ongoing retirement analysis, whether they're in a volatile business, if they're entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, or if they have money that they've inherited and they want to make sure that they are able to, give some to charity or give some money to their kids or not run out of money, we're an excellent fit. I mean, we do ongoing retirement analyses. We're able to, run their portfolios and all of the assumptions that go with a retirement analysis through a model, and can put their minds at ease, because nobody wants to risk running out of money. Nobody wants to be a burden on their family, especially their adult children. So for those who want ongoing financial planning or retirement analysis, we're a great fit for those people as well. And I would say lastly, for investors who are looking for us to fulfill a specific need. So if they want a strong global manager, they may be confident managing things in Canada themselves, but they want a global manager. They may come to us just for that. They want a Canadian manager who doesn't have any energy producers, because they have a real ESG environmental focus to their investing. We're a great fit for that. In fact, we've beaten the TSX. We've beaten the TSX every year since we launched our Canadian dividend fund, with 30% less volatility and no energy producers. So, this is resonating well for any investor, but particularly for those who don't want energy producers in the portfolio, and they want a little bit more of a greener approach. We're a great fit there. And for those looking for a little bit more income, high yield bonds are a fantastic, I would say, component piece to any fixed income allocation. We've been doing high yield for over a decade, and high yield bonds are a very niche, specialized approach. We do it very well. So someone may come to us just for high yield bonds, but that pretty much outlines our clientele.
Nice. So it sounds like, it's really the seasoned investor who would likely be most attracted to what you're offering, right? Someone who is more subconscious. I think the environmental thing is great, by the way. A lot of people, they don't think about it. They just give, here you go, here's my money to the advisor or the bank or whoever they're giving it to, right? And they don't really understand what is in their portfolio or not, right? So, having something that a lot of people do want to support the environment, I think it's good that you have something that can do that. And the fact that you've got something like that actually is doing really well. I know,
Right.
I was a financial advisor like 6 years ago. I think it's 6 years ago now, something like that, right? And they were starting to come up with these green funds, but they weren't doing as well as other ones. So it was like, well,
Right.
if you want to support the environment, you should do these ones, but you're also risking your own retirement fund. Do you want to have more money to retire with or less money? But now that you can get good
Right.
returns with environmentally friendly type of investments, I think that's fantastic, So, and people too who want to be knowledgeable, who do want to have a little bit more maybe input in terms of like the global and this and that, getting that knowledge. I think people who really appreciate that are good clients for you.
Our clients really run the spectrum, like very, very successful people, very bright people, those who are very interested in investing. So they're a little bit more involved in the process, and those who just are running their business or running their career or running their family and say, hey, this is just one thing that I don't want to have to pay attention to. I trust you. Please go, go do a good job. So it's like, it's really everyone in between. We
Nice.
work with phenomenal people doing really exciting things, and it's a total pleasure.
That's awesome. Fantastic. It's great. And I'm really looking forward to your tips. We don't want to give people away too much while you're here today, but just give us one recent example of a client you've helped. And what was their situation and what was the outcome of that?
Yeah, a good example might be one that I kind of touched on earlier, but this was somebody coming to me who had been investing at this place for almost 10 years. Didn't know what she was paying, didn't know her performance, didn't know what she owned and why she owned it. And I spent a lot of time with her unpacking everything because the anxiety level was high, especially in a year like last year, which was the worst year in the market since the financial crisis, global markets anyway. Once I took a lot of time to explain our approach, our criteria, our philosophy, why we own what we own, going through every position in the global portfolio, going through every position in the Canadian portfolio, the fixed income portfolio. And it really comes down to education and comfort in knowledge. Knowledge is power. And in this case, knowledge was powerful because when you know what you own and why you own it, like I said earlier, the sleep at night factor goes up and there's trust there. You don't have to worry about Visa, you don't have to worry about Canadian banks, Diageo, Allstate Insurance, Disney, Amazon, Microsoft, these are the best businesses, among the best businesses in the world. And the education component is a big deal for me because educated clients are better clients. They're happier clients and are more resilient clients to market volatility. Another individual I recently helped was someone who'd been managing their own money for decades, and let me say they had done a phenomenal job at it. But they were coming to a point where they were tired of doing it, and they wanted to offload that responsibility to a firm. They were interviewing many firms. I think our approach and philosophy happened to resonate quite well with this individual, but there was a high level of anxiety in giving up the reins, so to speak. So all or nothing sometimes is not the right approach. We started with half and over time built a great relationship, did a good job performance-wise, really earned this individual's trust. And now we're managing the whole thing. And of course, now this client can spend more time with the grandchildren and traveling and not worrying about, what's going on in the markets or having to check their phone and see what every individual stock is doing. I'm thrilled for that client because they can truly enjoy their retirement without being tethered to the computer screen and their phone and worrying about global markets and geopolitical shocks and all the other things that can affect their portfolio.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that really speaks highly of you, right? Someone who was really successful at doing their own thing, right? And I totally get that. I know that I'm super busy running my business, and whether you want to just retire and have fun or people who are just busy, every day like myself, that, it is quite a bit if you want to, first of all, learn all the ins and outs of, stocks and trading and bond. All this, there's a lot of stuff to learn, first of all, right? And then to keep up with it constantly, that, it is good if you kind of or someone who knows what they're doing, right? Same idea. People come to see me, they want to grow their businesses, right? And then people want to grow their wealth and they go see you. So definitely a place for you here. And I'm looking forward for our guests to meet you actually in person. It's going to be fantastic, right? And come up and, learn different things from you. And, hopefully they see some things a little differently, right? Like, you can keep the status quo, but then sometimes it's like, well, maybe there's something better out there. Right. And that's why I wanted you to come out, right? I was really impressed with your services, right. And your knowledge and your commitment to your clients. And so that's why I wanted you to come out and be part of our great event on the 30th. And yeah, so thanks so much for coming to Liam. It's been a pleasure to have you. And I look forward to seeing you at the end of the month.
Tammy, thank you so much for the time. And I really look forward to presenting later this month.
You're very welcome.